Yes, well, huh? Got that each other. I know it's going to rubber on front, but I don't like to get anything.
Hey guys, this is Rich, tech at Billywood Ford in Jana, Louisiana. Some of you may experience a check engine light that pops on your early model F250s with the 6.7 liter power stroke. Codes about the reductant tank. Well, there's a basically global service message out talking about how to replace everything, but there's also a service message that Ford has put out that covers it to a certain mileage and a certain date. The service message is actually 18M01. I'm going to take you through the process of actually replacing it and what we do at a Ford dealership. It's under warranty, so you must take it to a dealership to do it if you're still within the mileage in the year. Outside of that, you're on your own and it's going to be customer pay. But this is for warranty purposes. I'm going to show you how I do it. And your new reductant kit, you'll get a new sending assembly. You'll get a new ring that fits down on the top of the tank. And you'll get a new hardware kit that has the screws for the module and the O-rings for the actual module sitting down on top of the reductant tank. Most of these modules come with an O-ring in it already, right here, so don't try to double gasket that and force it in there. Be careful when you do it. You can pull that one out and reuse the old one, or you can just leave the new one that's in it already in there. There is a smaller O-ring down here that must go in that pump as well, on the smaller side, right here. Now your reductant tank is going to be back here in the back of the vehicle. Your fuel tank is here, the reductant tank is inside here. There is a big connector up here. You can see that white connector right there. It's got to be undone. It pulls this way. There's a tab that you can unlock underneath it to get it off. This line right here goes around and it goes over to the side of that reductant tank. Those are the only two things that you have to unplug from this. Is this line here and this connector back here. It should slide right out of there once you take it. The associated bolts, they're 13 millimeter here, 2 on this side here, and then there's one over here. This bolt back in here. If you look down, you look down right back up in there, you'll see the bolt, the other bolt that holds it on. Now, on an FX4 package, they typically have these off-road shields. You get more time because you got to pull this off. You got bolts all along. There's a nut there. There's 2 bolts there. Another nut right there. 2 more bolts in the back. And that shielding should slide right off of there, and then you'll be able to get to those bolts in that reductant tank. For safety reasons, make sure you have something under it to support it. You'll see over here, over there in the corner, we've got that jack looking deal. It's got that flat platform. We'll put that up there and do it, but if it's pretty empty, I just muscle it out of there, just hold it and do all my work from there. Before you take anything apart underneath or disassemble anything, you need to come here to the filler cap first. There's 3 screws that need to come out, and then this plastic cap just pops off. You can actually peel it right off of there. .5 millimeter. I just leave them sit right there. You don't have to. You got these little 5.5 millimeter screws, and then basically you can reach up underneath here and get to that filler neck right there. Pull it out of there and pull it down. Try not to kink this line if you don't have to. Recording?
Yeah.
So basically all I'm doing is taking these 13mm bolts all the way down this protective shield that sits on the side of this FX4 package power stroke. They're just 13mm. Back up. So what I've done is I went ahead and unplugged this connector up here and I pulled it off its clip. The base, there's a thing that it clips on right under here. Now pull these bolts off, that one there and the one on the other side. Now I'm ready to pull this bolt here and this bolt here out of the back of it and drop it down onto my platform here. So that's what I'll be doing now. Get me from an angle like this way or where you can see my hands. No, the other way. Oh yeah. But it's gonna start to drop now. So basically what I've done is I push these two green tabs in on each side of this, pull that filler neck up. On this other one here, same deal. There's two tabs. It'll be a little bit of a bear to get it out of there. There's so much dirt, debris, and this one too, you can go ahead and unclip it, and then it's got two tabs. So this clips out of the way. It's got a little tab on each side. You push in. It's hard to push. You got to fight it. And then this one, same deal. Drop it down a little bit more and let's see what we can do. Try not to stress this smaller line. Go ahead and pull it out of there in one piece. Not really supposed to stretch that smaller line. I'll have to be careful when I go back. Not to put any more crease marks in that small line. Then pull that line out the other side. And then drop this thing down. Go back up. Up there. Well, I get it. Stressing the line too much. You gotta.
It's under the hood. I was using it over here. Should be somewhere. And I could have thrown it back, I guess, but I was using it. Oh shit, I did.
Back up some so you see it dropping out. Pull this connector off. This is the connector I was fighting. That you should push these green tabs in on both sides, but there's so much junk built up behind it. You can also clean this connector out and see if it'll make it easier. Sometimes tapping it will get the debris out of it. They're boogers sometimes. There it goes. You can see all the debris down inside there where it's been holding it back. Okay. So what I do is I come down to our wash rack and I spray it down with some degreaser and I clean all the junk off of it. You don't want no debris when you switch over to the new sending assembly. You want all this junk off of there. Okay, so now that we're back in the shop, I have removed the wiring harness from this. It basically just sits around the top of this, and then you just pop these little plastic connectors, just pull them right off, unsnap each one of these, unsnap this, pull it off of its mounting bracket. This is the main wiring harness going into the sender assembly. And then you'll have to cut this zip tie over here on the side. You'll have to cut it off, remove all that completely, and then I'll be back with the tool that you use to remove this O-ring, or this top ring that holds the whole assembly into the tank. Okay, I went ahead and I removed the 3/32 screws, or it's probably actually a millimeter screw, but metric screw. But I use a 3/32. It's what I have in my little kit down here. It's a little cheap kit I bought from O'Reilly or something like that. And I just took the 3 screws out and basically just wiggle it off a little bit. You see all that debris and stuff that's down there? Now what I'll do is I'll carefully wipe that off without getting that stuff anywhere on the rest of the pump. I'll just wipe it off right there. I'll try to keep it to the center. And then what I do is I use this tool right here. You can use a punch and just stick it behind one of those ribs and lightly hit it, and this ring will work its way loose. I'm going to pull this ring off the top of this now to show you guys. Basically I just use a regular punch, just get right behind one of the ribs right here and just lightly drive it off with a rubber mallet. Make sure when you take this pump out of there, you realize that the module that was down here, the little tip part over here, faces this way, towards this blue piece. It can't go any other way, so make sure when this pump goes back on there, you've got it about in this direction where it faces this way. Now that I've got it knocked loose, I can go ahead and take this ring out. All I'm doing is trying to get up on top of this rubber ring and just pry up a little bit. So once this comes out and out of the way, you'll actually have to take your hand, stick it down here and grab the top of this pump. Look, see if you can get closer. Grab this and you'll have to unsnap it like 1/8 of a turn. It just snaps sideways a little bit and then comes right out. Go ahead and pull all this. All right. So now what I'm doing is I'm taking any last minute precautions before I try to put that new sending assembly in there to really get this thing clean. And when I clean, I'm pulling my hand away from the insides. Because if the inside's not contaminated and everything looks good, you can reuse the fluid. A lot of times I just go ahead and precautionary measures, pour it out and put new fluid in there anyway. Mostly water anyhow. Just clean all this stuff off now and get ahead of the game. So now what I'll do, the fluid inside looks good. It didn't look like there was anything wrong with it. There's no contamination, nothing floating around. Now what I'll do is I'll take this new pump, I'll set it down right in the center of it, or I'll try to. You'll feel a little slot it fits in. You can see there's little tabs on the bottom. They fit in there a certain way. So if you put it directly in the center, and then just rotate it around, eventually it'll slide in. It should slide in. There it goes, it just slid in there. So right here, see I'm fighting it, bam, slides down, lock it in. Now go ahead and fit your rubber ring all around this right here. It's kind of a bear to get it on there. Sorry for the shaky video. Fit this ring around there and start it inside that hole. And then just keep working it around that collar until it gets down in there around that pump. Got to make sure it fits down around the outside of the pump, not the inside. And then remember how this thing goes back on there. It goes with this pump here oriented. So if I look at the way those two knobs They go in there like that on an angle. So this does go back in there about like so. Kind of like this area here. And then you just slide this back on there. A lot of times it'll try to fight you going on. Let's go ahead and screw that down all the way, but leave a little bit of room so if you need to, you can tap this pump sideways, left or right, to get it to line up properly. Anyhow, I'm gonna get this put back together and put all the lines and stuff on. You'll see me putting it back in, putting the harness back on it next. These can be a little tricky to put on, so you have to know what you're doing when you put these on there. There's a little hook and latch set up here that you slide over these ribs. So what I'll do is I'll slide this behind it, and then I'll take my little tab here and put it underneath and let that thing straddle the rib, and I'll push it up there like that, and then I'll take and put my zip tie through there. So let's do that. Let's do that one more. We'll do that right in here. Go ahead and slide it underneath that. Get my little hook underneath the lip, underneath, and then I straddle that rib, put it on there. I'll go ahead and pull this through again. Should we do one more? We'll do one more. Underneath, straddle the rib. Oh, it got me. Let's see here. Underneath, straddle the rib, push it on. And then after that, I'll come through. I've got some junk dikes here. Sucker came off. I'll get a better pair. I'll go get a better pair. Okay, so we just went ahead and muscled the tank back up in there and went ahead and stuck the side connector back in, and then took that big white plug right there and plugged it back in. So now all we have to do is go ahead and fish this tube through. Trying to fish it around up through the top up here. Sorry guys, shaky video. I got it crossed around the wire. Watch your face. It's gonna whack you. Here, hold that for a second. Alright, I got it. Yep. So now that it's back up in there, we can pull it down and connect it. Here, you take this now. I'll take the tank. So I'm going to connect the big connector first, and then the one that's over here on an angle is next. I think I got it. Oh, I did. Snap it on there all the way. Okay, now that one's on there and the other one's on there. So now basically we're just gonna have to set this thing in place. Now look at the bolt pattern. So I've got one bolt started up there. I'm going to try to get the other three started real quick. That one started. Now back here. That is not the right one, I don't think. Nope, that's not the right one. It's got a bigger collar on it. Get that. Okay, and I'll just tighten them back down. I'll be back when I'm putting the filler neck back in. Alright, so basically just line your filler neck back up. Start your screws in there. Clean out that neck, any kind of debris or whatever that may be in there. Don't pull it forward. If you get it to go in there, you stick your finger in and you pull it back. Not. Cup your finger back and pull towards you. Don't push it down. There you go. Pretty clean. And just take this, just push it right back over. And then after this is all said and done, you go ahead and top it off with some fluid and then make sure it's full. And then you'll want to go into your computer and you'll want to do a SCR purge or a reductant purge or whatever you want to call it, to actually purge the air out of the line and then clear all the codes out. So that's why it's almost pertinent you take it back to the dealer if you don't have IDS, to go into your special functions and go into your SCR system and then purge it to make sure all the air's out of it. That's my next step. I'm not going to go there with you guys on the computer. This is just an install procedure. I appreciate your guys' support. Thanks for watching. And if you have if you need any help with any other videos or something like that, let me know. God bless.